In this video, I'm going to be taking this rather cute bird box and turning it into a Wi-Fi enabled camera bird box for the blue tits. Come on, down the shed. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now in my last video, you'd have seen me knock up a nesting box for the robins out of a single piece of timber. Now, to not show any favouritism, I've decided to make one for the blue tits, but this one is going to be slightly different. It's kind of favouritism, but anyway. So what I've decided to do, this box was bought for me, I think about 2 years ago for a birthday or Christmas, and I've not actually done anything with it yet because it's quite a long box, which makes it perfect for this task, which is to convert it and put a Wi-Fi enabled camera inside the box. So fingers crossed I can see blue tits nesting. Now this box is perfect because for blue tits you need a 25mm hole. This has got a 25mm hole. It's very well protected. It's very well made indeed, but I need to doctor it a bit. Now unfortunately the only access is a small hole underneath, which I'm not really going to be able to go in there and do what I need to do. So unfortunately I'm going to have to sacrifice the lid and make a new lid. That way I can get inside and do all the gubbins and stuff. So yeah, tools out. Now because the box is so well made, I think the best way to remove the lid is to carefully pry it off with a hammer. I'm pretty sure I said careful. Well, I suppose it worked. Right, now I need to clean it up by removing all the old nails. Right, with the lid taken off safely, obviously, we can now see what kind of space we're working with. And it's quite a decent size in there. I am actually going to cut these, so this is where he had two feather boards kind of like feather edged over each other for the roof, but I'm actually just going to whip them off so that they're not there, so it's just two sides. I'm actually losing about 5mm of real estate, which is rather important, but it's going to make it easier. So timber, and then I'm going to have felt go over the top of the roof. So now what we're going to do is have a look at the camera and see how we're going to attach that inside of blue tits box. Right, so after looking around on the internet, well Amazon mainly, and trying to find a camera of half decent size that's going to be okay in the box, I settled on this Tapo 2K camera, which is not a bad footprint at all. It's quite small in dimensions, so it should be able to go, and it can move quite well on its stand. So I'm thinking somewhere in the back of the box like this, cable out the back, job's done. Not that simple though, because these are obviously, they have night vision as well, which is good. Now once that box lid's on, you're only going to have the tiny little hole for light, so I'm going to have to put some windows in it to allow light for the camera to work. It's not straightforward, Ben, is it? Now the box came with these lovely little bird details stuck to the side, which are really cute, but unfortunately they're in the way for the windows, so I'm going to carefully remove them because I might want to reuse them. Working like a charm, just like the removal of the roof. Perfectly executed, removed in one whole piece. With that done, I now measure up and mark out for the window and repeat the process for the other side, and then cut them both out with the multi-tool. There we go, two windows. It's a little bit smoky in here because the multi-tool kind of like burnt timber smell. It smells lovely. Right, now I know what you're thinking. You're probably asking yourself, Ben, what are you making the windows out of? Ah, right, I'll tell you. It's actually a two-part process. Part one, tropical juice bottle. Part two, some mesh. Bear with me. Now blue tits like to nest in cavities where they're safe and secure and can't be seen, so they're not really fans of windows. So what I'm using the tropical juice bottle for is because it's opaque, so it'll let light in, but the birds can't see out and no one can see in, so they don't know they've got a window. That's the theory. So I now have to mark out the measurements of the windows, which are going to be 5mm bigger than the actual opening of the window, so they can be stuck to the side of the box. I then roughly cut it out of the bottle so I can put it on a flat surface and cut it out properly. And at this point I realised it's easier if I just put the other one on top. I can trace it out so they're exactly the same size. them now stuck down in place, I cut out the 2 pieces of mesh which are to go over the windows, which I temporarily stick down with super glue for now. Right, okay, 2 windows. So this is actually 3 parts, not 2 parts. So I've put the plastic out the bottle in, glued it in with super glue, and then I've temporarily tacked super glue onto the mesh. And what I'm going to do now is actually make like a picture frame out of, I've got some of this rough sawn timber, which is about, I don't know, get a tape measure. It is about 8mm. 8mm. So what I'm going to do is get the multi-tool back out and then basically just make a picture frame, which will then get panel pinned over the window itself, so therefore that will protect the birds inside from any predators like magpies and stuff. So I'm going to get the multi-tool back out because I've literally just put it away. Yeah. Well, that didn't actually go to plan, so I'm probably going to source some different material to make the guards over the windows because the timber kind of just fell apart. So don't have to worry about that now anyway because it's not important. I'll deal with that in a bit. What I am going to do now is I'm going to get the camera installed, which means, like I said, I'm going to have to trim these off so it's nice and square, which will give me the maximum room I need to have the camera in the top of the box, like so. So yeah, I'm going to get the camera in and then I can get the lid on, and then I can take it outside and see exactly how much light it's letting in, whether the camera's not going to be on night mode, night vision mode, whatever it's called, all the time. So yeah, cut that lid down a bit and then get the camera installed. That all the things been happening is no coincidence, 'cause you know what I need. Now the positioning of the camera in the box is rather important, so I need to make sure it's adjustable but it fits under the roof nicely. Once I got it in the right position, I marked with a pencil to make sure it's not going to move. Then I used an offcut of timber to get the spacing distance between the two screws that hold the bracket. Little did I know, inside the box there was a piece of paper which was designed for that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now I need to mount the bracket onto the back of the box, which for this I need the good old stubby screwdriver because I can't fit nothing else in there. Now the camera bracket can be mounted to the back of the box, making sure it's firmly in position. And to make sure it wasn't coming off at all, I tapped it down with a hammer and a piece of timber. And finally the camera can go in. And it sure ain't coming off. I spend most of my time. Oh yeah, camera is in. It sits in there perfectly. So what I've got to do now is I'm going to drill a hole through the back, about an 8mm hole-ish. 10mm maybe, 8mm, for the cable which obviously plugs in on the bottom of the camera there. So I'm going to come in from about here somewhere, and then it's just going to obviously feed down and then into the bottom of the... That moves quite a bit. I might actually see if I can do something about that, because if a bird flaps around and that moves that, then, well, I'm going to have to go in there, but I don't really want to go in there because that's not the idea. And plus the access is only from the bottom once I put the lid on, which the whole nest will fall out the bottom. It doesn't matter. Right, so yeah, also you might notice that I cut off the little perch. You should never put perches on the front of your boxes because all it does is encourage predators to sit outside the box. And they've got plenty, blue tits can grab hold of this and go straight in there if they want, so cut that off, didn't need it. Right, so what I'm going to do now, like I said, is I'm going to put the cable in, and then I'm going to use that same this timber, this plain, just rough sawn timber, for the roof, which obviously I was going to use it for the window side things, but didn't quite work. So, but this is actually perfect. So if I offer that on there like that, I don't even have to cut it down. It's just going to overhang beautifully on either side. So I'm going to get that cut down and put on, and then we'll be able to plug it in and just see how much light isn't in the box. With the cable entry all successfully done with no dramas, it's time to measure out the roof and go and get that cut. Okay, right, so I've temporarily just tacked the roof on for now because I want to now take it outside, plug it in and test to see how dark it is inside the box. Then I will put the roof on properly, and then, like I said, I've got some roof felt which I'm going to cover over the top of it, so it should look rather nice. And then I have down there on the floor, just go and get it. This actually originally came off the back, which you probably noticed the mark on the back, look. So that's going to go back on so it can be hung up. Looking alright in it. And then I'm just going to get a blob of CT1 and just fill the hole where the cable comes out. Cables are not bad. I mean, it's about, well, it's long enough for where I want to put it to get to a socket. I can live my life. Okay, right, I've temporarily just tacked it to the shed because it's outside and it's near a socket, and it is a dull, dreary day, so this is a good test for the windows. So what I'm going to do now, because I've just switched it on, I've got to wait for it to connect to the Wi-Fi system, and then we'll have a look on the phone in the app just to see how much light them windows do or don't let in. I'm also going to recut the roof because I've cut it just slightly small, so I'm going to have it overhang a little bit because it's even better for water. So let that connect to the Wi-Fi, we'll have a look. Fingers crossed there's enough light going in the box, because I don't want black and white. Right, okay, that should have had long enough to connect to the network by now. So let's have a look in the Tapo app and see exactly, where are we? Here we go. Let's have a look and see, so it is connected, and see, moment of truth, see how much light goes into the box. Oh my God, oh, that's actually really light. I wasn't expecting that at all. That's, wow, that's actually like a lot lighter than I thought it'd be. Maybe like, it might be too much. Maybe I should, I'm just going to go and quickly, I'll have to look, you'll see this before I will, but I'm just going to go and cover one of the windows. Let's go out. That's still letting light in, or I don't know. I'll have to have a look back at the video myself, won't I? Else I won't know. But yeah, that's really good. I'm just going to angle it up slightly so you can see a bit more of like the entrance as well. So that's, I'm really impressed with that. And also the Wi-Fi, I'm actually connected to the Wi-Fi because I've got 3 Wi-Fi networks in the house, and the one that I want it connect to go out the front is actually like miles away from here. So that's picked that up fine, and where the box is going to go out the front, the Wi-Fi box is literally just the other side of the wall. So that's awesome. Right, I'm going to get it back down, take the lid off again, and then I can move the camera up a little bit so it faces more down to the front of the box. Recut the lid, like I said, it's just slightly small. I'm not happy with it. I've got the spare timber, so I'm going to recut it. Then I'm going to fix that down properly, and then I might even, that's really impressive, I might even just cover one of the windows back up if there's enough light going in. You've seen the footage, I haven't seen it yet, so I'll have a look. If I think there's enough light for the camera, then I might just block one back up, but we shall see. So yeah, I'm going to get it down and get it to do that, yeah. And with the camera in what I think is now the optimal position for it, I'm going to recut the roof now. And yes, I am reusing the same footage for when I cut it the first time, because it's the power of editing and I'm allowed to do that. As you can see here, I have the camera back out again, and that's because, if you remember, I said that it moved way too easily on its ball joint. So I've tightly wound some electrical tape around the ball joint, and now it doesn't move at all. Well, it does, obviously, because I have to adjust it, but you know what I mean, it's not going to move if a bird hit it. Regular days would turn into never-ending weekends, ordinary way. Right, done. New lid. I didn't actually cut it short, the last one. What I did, I was just cut it flush with the sides. I didn't like it, so I brought it forward about 10 mil, so it's got a nice little overhang. So what I'm going to do now is put the roof felt on. I've got a roll of roof felt, which I'm going to use. Yeah, I've got some contact adhesive up there, so I'm going to stick it on with that. I did look at the footage, and I have covered up one of the windows with the original part of the original roof that I lovingly took off. pre-drilled and then screwed it on, and the one window's plenty enough light, absolutely plenty. So yeah, I'm going to get that on, and then the box is pretty much ready to go. But I do have a problem. Obviously I've got access luckily to go underneath, because if birds start nesting in this box, then I'll have no access to it at all, which I shouldn't need it anyway, because you know, it's not my family, I shouldn't disturb them. But I do need the access at the minute, because I forgot to plug the camera in, didn't I? I left it unplugged, what a moron. So I'm going to go in there, plug that in, and then yeah, do that on the roof. Yeah.
Now I'm lucky enough to have a roll of roof felt lying around, which if you haven't, this is where it could get more expensive. You're probably looking at around £20 for a roll of roof felt, which is probably a little bit overkill for the amount you need, unless you can source something else that's going to make it watertight. Now it's cut and into position, I can give it a good old coat of the contact adhesive. There, and just to secure it a bit more, I'm going to tack it down with some clout nails.
Done, finished. Isn't it cute? Look, I've put a few clout nails in the roof because the contact adhesive was a little bit flappy on the corners, and I didn't want the wind to just rip the roof off, so a few clout nails front and back. And I've also, you saw me putting CCTV one? CT1 with my fingers around the front and the back, and also the hole where the cable comes out, which I have been in the bottom, and I'll put the cable back in. So that is it. The only thing left to do now is actually go and put it up and wait.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip.
Yes, I am in different clothes, and I've had a shave, and I've had a haircut, because it's actually 5 days later.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive.
So, like I said in the previous video, when sighting the robin's box, there are guidelines to what orientation... What do you mean you haven't seen the video? That means you're probably not subscribed to the channel, are you? What you need to do is pause this video, go down there, hit the subscribe button, or if you're watching this on your TV, go up there, go over there a bit and hit subscribe there. And whilst you're there, like this video.
So as I was saying, there are guidelines to where you should put your box, which direction to face it, but birds will nest wherever they want to nest. Ideally though, don't put it south or southwest, because they're in direct sunlight for prolonged parts of the daytime, so the birds might overheat. So north or east is what they recommend. So my house is facing north and east is over there, and I have the perfect spot up there which I want to put the box, which is underneath the thin little landing window, because there's a socket just underneath, and there's also the Wi-Fi box is about 10 feet away. So what I'm going to do is get the ladder out, go up there, move one of the tiles to get to the batten, which means I might actually have to take the back off the box that's going to screw it to the wall. So I don't think that's going to work under there. So yeah, I'm going to go down the shed, do that, get my ladder out, have a look.
I'm gonna make mistakes, I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town.
I think it is ready to go up. So obviously I've took the timber off the back, turned it round, so I now can fit 2 screws through the holes and screw it to the batten just underneath the window. Fingers crossed, it should work. And also, obviously going back to work, 5 days, I managed to get an offcut of the tin roof, which I've cut out, which you just saw, and it's now screwed in with the tiniest little screws in the world around the window, which gives it that extra support, that extra protection from predators. So now the little blue tits, if they choose to use the box, are 100% safe in there. So yeah, back out front.
I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else, I'm gonna be...
Right, okay, so you may have noticed that I've actually had to put a spacer on the back of the bit that's mounting it to the batten in there, because, well, it needs bridging out a bit, else when I screw it in it's going to pull the box up like that. But I want that, I want it nice and, you know, level on the wall. So I'm actually going to put 4 screws in this, so I'm going to use the holes that are here, like so.
Nothing can break me.
And I also have extra screws in my pocket. I'll say extra screws, extra 1.
When I'm in this town.
because I dropped one.
Take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me.
Yep, lovely jubbly. Whoosh. Yeah, job done. I'm actually really chuffed with that. So yeah, brilliant. Right, back down the shed.
Like a drug that I just can't deny, giving me the best high. My body's shaking every time.
I really am so chuffed with that box. The build went so well and it's up out the front exactly where I wanted it, because unlike robins, blue tits like to nest on an open wall so they can actually see what's going on around them before they either leave or enter the box. I've actually tucked the cable up, if you've noticed, underneath the windowsill, between the windowsill and the flashing out the way, plugged it in and tested it, and everything is working exactly fine as it should do. I've adjusted the motion detection settings for the notifications that come through to my phone from the camera. I honestly don't know how I'm going to contain my excitement when I first have that notification of motion detected on my phone. Imagine the disappointment though if it's like a bloody spider or an earwig or something. But fingers crossed it won't be, and it'll be a blue tit. I do actually have a load of PSC timber left over, which I feel like making that box was kind of cheating because I already had the box in the first place. What I wouldn't mind doing with the PSC is making a Wi-Fi camera box from scratch. If you think you'd like to see that video, let me know in the comments and then I'll make the video of making a box with a camera in from scratch. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, go down there, give it a thumbs up. Whilst you're there, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't seen the build of the Robins box from the last video, then here it is. Have a look at it here. I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.